Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It is the last Friday of October. Can you believe it?
I don't know where it went.
I'm here with my friend Ashley. It's a girls' morning. Tim said, you know what? You guys have to take it and run with it. And I think Ashley and I were up for that challenge.
Absolutely.
So here we go.
We're both fly by the seat of your pants kind of gals.
We are, totally. And we do a lot together, so that's pretty cool that we're involved in a lot of the same things. So if you're listening, we are on PeoriaLife.com. You can catch us on Saturdays on WPEO, Fridays on Comcast and i3. So listen on Facebook, you can share, and the more shares we get, the better that helps all of us.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about the CEO Council, which you're a part of.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's the kind of the best kept secret nonprofit that most people don't know about. But when you hear about what we do, you go, oh, I know what that is. So CEO Council is a group of CEOs, business leaders, community leaders that get together and work on projects to better the area. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and our members are made up of chamber members. So that's our connection to the chamber.
Okay.
We also share a CEO with the chamber. So Jeff Griffin at the chamber is also our CEO at CEO Council. And we work on projects like the Build a Block referendum to get the Cat Visitor Center and the museum here. We still have the Bradley Next Innovation Center on our books.
Okay.
Because we had a big hand in that. The Cancer Research Center, the Downtown Development Corporation, all these big projects that have come through the CEO Council and our members have worked on in some way, shape, or form.
Wow.
The cool thing is we don't own any of these projects, so it's very sustainable. So we take the ball and volley it over the net, if you will. So we look at things that need to be done or that our members are interested in. That's how we pick our projects, is through studying where our gaps are and then using our membership's interest to move them forward.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So
So it's
that's a
always
lot.
changing, always
Yeah.
changing, yeah.
So that's a lot of projects you've kind of already completed. So what are you guys working on now?
Yeah, so the last 2 years, we had a round of projects that we were working on. So we created a work program for our youth, high school students, called Greater Peoria Works.
Okay.
So that's been up and running for a full year in the school system, but we've been working on it for 2 years. And it's just encouraging and insisting employers to get high school students in the door.
Okay.
So internships, you think college, right?
Sure.
So many of those college kids aren't from here. And so why would they stay here, for example? Or if for your example, you're in high school, the first thing, I know I did it when I was in high school, is as soon as I graduate, I'm getting as far away from here as possible. And we want to let students know that you don't have to leave Peoria or the Peoria region to have a good sustaining job and to do what you want to do. So really, it's letting businesses test out talent.
Okay.
Because we have the talent here.
Sure.
We just got to help them get the skills that they need. And then letting the students know that there's opportunities here. So it's really being the bridge between business and education. So that is now housed at the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council.
Okay.
They have a dedicated staff person in Brent Baker, and he actually works with the schools to make sure everybody's on the same page and we're speaking the same language. Many times business and education don't speak the same language.
Sure.
And business wants to make sure the kids are getting taught skills that are necessary for their businesses and vice versa. So that is up and running, and we need more businesses to participate. So if you think you can't get a high school student in the door, we can help you get that done. These students are hungry for the opportunities. They're hungry for any money in their pocket that they could get. And on average, businesses are spending so much in recruiting talent from outside of the region, outside of the state, or even outside of the country. So let's take that investment and put it into our own community.
What kind of hours are the kids able to work, though?
That's a little bit different. It depends on the student.
Sure.
It depends on their transportation ability. It depends on their schedule availability. It depends on what dual credit or other type of classes they're already taking in school, because some
Sure.
students get to leave school in order to work. But obviously our most popular are during the summer.
Okay. So it's more focused for during the summer. I know, like, when I was a senior in high school, I actually left at noon every day,
Yeah.
and I went to work.
Yeah,
And
so
that
it's the
was
same
really
type
cool.
of, some schools have that program, and,
Okay.
and we can wrap that into it. But we also have opportunities when you're a business. It's free to sign up, and you can put that you have a job shadow opportunity or a company tour opportunity, or even you can select that you want to be a guest speaker. So teachers can then get in the platform and request that you come speak to their class.
Oh,
so it's
cool.
really just being the one-stop shop, easy way to connect students.
Absolutely.
So there's lots of community partners working on that, not just CEO Council, but the logo came from an ICC design student, and we really worked hard to push this out. So now we're expanding, and we need businesses to create opportunities.
So if a business wanted to sign up, what would they have to do?
They could go to CEO Council and contact me directly, and we can I just need an email address and the name of the company, and then you're off and running.
And you guys have a website.
Yeah, CEO Council is peoriaceocouncil.org.
Okay.
But then the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council also has their own website.
Okay.
And we can get you hooked up with Brent Baker. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that would be really cool. And also it gives the kids an opportunity to kind of see and explore different jobs.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you really want to do.
Well, that you just don't know what's available. My favorite example is that there is a person who studied Hollywood makeup artistry. They're not in LA making movies. They're here in Peoria creating fake wounds, moulage for the Jump Training Center.
Oh, cool.
They're not a doctor. They don't have a huge medical background. They are an artist working at a hospital. And you wouldn't necessarily put those two fields together. So it's letting the kids explore what opportunities there are at different businesses that wouldn't be their main focus. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to be a doctor to work in a hospital.
Right. That's very cool, though.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
One of the other big projects that we just got done, we spent 2 years doing a study on the water system. So every 5 years, I'm sure you know, there's a contract that comes up with the city of Peoria to repurchase their water system.
Okay.
It's the only contract like this in the country. It's all the way back from 1889.
Wow.
When Peoria was the fastest growing city in the state of Illinois at that time. And so it's kind of a political hot topic, and it comes up every 5 years. That's what the contract says. Mm-hmm. So we did a business analysis from what we could find from a business standpoint and tried to give the city as much information that we could find as possible. And then we've spent the last probably year talking to different civic groups, different homeowners associations, just to let them know kind of what's going on. We just talked to the young professionals of Greater Peoria. I know a lot of young professionals are owning their home and don't know that this contract with the city exists. So how do you speak? How do you speak about it? How do you encourage your council men and women to make a decision when you don't even know what it is? I didn't know about it. I've owned my home for a while, and until I was working on this project with CEO Council, I didn't know it was a thing.
So I guess I don't either. But so what does that even really mean? As a homeowner, so there's a contract, but it's not a contract we're signing. It's a contract that the city's signing. Right,
exactly. So right now, our water is privately owned by Illinois American Water. Okay. This has nothing to do with them as a company. They have great service. Their employees are our neighbors and our friends and our family. And so most people, when they open their bill, they pay it, no questions asked. You may hear some complaints when a pipe bursts or things like that. But 85% of Americans get their water from municipally owned systems. And out of those 85%, about 2,000 are contract operated. So you might hear that I don't want the city to run anything or government to own anything. Mm-hmm. But really the majority of Americans get their water from some sort of government system.
Sure.
And a lot of times they have to do that through eminent domain if a private company already owns it. We are the only place in America that we know of that has this loophole, if you will, or this agreement that every 5 years the city can decide to opt to own their own water again. Currently, rates are managed by the ICC, the Illinois Commerce Commission.
Okay.
If it were municipally owned, those rates would be held locally with our congressmen and women that we elect. So not to say that one is better than the other, but it comes down to, could this be a revenue source for the city of Peoria? But the unfortunate part is it takes a lot of time, effort, and money to find out if it's viable or not. There's a whole myriad of things that have to go along with if they vote. So it's kind of weird how it's written. I know more about water than you.
Not what I was thinking of, but okay.
But
love learning.
So in order to find out if it's viable, they first have to decide they want to buy it with a vote. That doesn't mean that they're stuck buying it. They can back out at any time. So we kind of, you're in the real estate market, so you'll understand this. We kind of put it as to buying a house. So how it works is if I want to sell you my house, I say, okay, you can purchase my house, but you have to buy it from the curb, sight unseen. What you see is from here is what you get. You can't come inside. If you decide that you want to buy it, you can come inside and look around, and then you can back out at any point. But first, you have to tell me you want to buy it first.
Crazy.
It's very...
That does happen, though. It's very, very rare.
Yeah, but that becomes very confusing because if the city decides they want to make this vote to do the due diligence or the study to see if it's a good idea, they first have to say they want to buy it. And that right there is what confuses a lot of people.
Oh, sure.
So...
Because if you say you want to buy it, then you think that that's the end all.
Right, and it's not. There's a whole... I mean, it could take 2-3 years just to do the study to find out if it would be a good idea or not. But CEO Council came to the conclusion that we should at least find out.
So the vote's being placed.
No, we are hoping that the vote is being placed.
Oh, okay. So who has to make that vote?
The City Council.
Okay.
So I think they have till November 2018 to make that vote.
Okay.
So they would, if they vote yes, they would be doing the study, their own study with the water company and all their people together legally making it. And
any idea of the cost that would cost? You don't know.
You don't know.
So to the tune of hundreds or thousands or
could be
hundreds of thousands.
So what we have been told is it could take $1 million to do the study.
Whoa.
So it could be very pricey, but if you're talking about return on your investment, it could be worth it at the end, but we don't know.
Wow.
So you just got to ask yourself, do you want to find out, and do you want to keep talking about this every 5 years?
For over the past 100 years.
Because it could be a good idea, it could be a bad idea, and if it's a good idea, that's great, and if it's not, CEO Council would be the first to say that's not a good business transaction, but we think that they should at least talk about it.
Whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
So what else are you guys working on?
So now we have a new set of projects. Every couple years, CEO Council does a project called Scorecard.
Okay.
We use a Bradley professor, Dr. Larry Weinzimmer. He is our statistical magician, if you will.
He's a great guy. I've met him.
So smart. Scary smart. And so he compares our region to peer and aspirational cities. And that's how we kind of see how the needle is moving. So on areas that we have growth, on areas that, we're gapping a little bit, and that's how CEO Council picks its next endeavors.
Okay.
So we use that as a benchmark internally to set our track for the next set. So this is kind of an off year where we haven't done that yet. So we're still continuing to work on the water education. We're still working on Greater Peoria Works. And then we're going to work on the scorecard and a couple other things. Alignment Peoria is huge for us. Catherine Coyle is housed at our office along with the chamber.
Okay.
And Alignment Peoria is kind of what it sounds. We're aligning Peoria together. It's business, again, coming together with education. And it's really that strategic plan for Peoria Public Schools and how we can help them.
And where it's going to go.
Yeah, so our members at the CEO Council are populating their action teams. So it's not too much heavy lifting on our part, but our members are the business community, and they're the leaders in that business community. So let's get them to the table and have those populate those committees.
Cool. So if someone wanted to get involved, you guys
Yeah.
use volunteers a lot. In
We
your
do.
Committees and so forth.
We do. CEO Council is a pay-to-play organization, so there's lots of investment happening. That's how we get our projects done. That's how we operate as a 501c3. It's a membership based.
Okay.
So membership is based on the revenue of the company. So we start at $5,000 a year. So some are at 5, some are in kind, depending on what the company is.
Sure.
And then our members meet 6 times a year. So every other month we meet as a full group to discuss different things. And monthly their committees are coming together to work on projects. So again, go to our website, peoriaceocouncil.org, and there's a membership list. You can kind of see who's already at the table.
Okay.
And then you can either contact myself or Jeff Griffin directly, or send us fill out our little inquiry on our website.
And what's the website again?
peoriaceocouncil.org.
What's the favorite part about your job?
Oh my gosh. I would have to say that I've been blessed in being able to work with senior leadership in any role that I've had. And a lot of my peers don't. As a young professional, there's not a lot of us out there that have direct access to their CEO. And I get access to about 65 CEOs and business leaders in the Peoria community, and that's pretty cool. I learn something every day.
A lot of role models.
Absolutely. I mean,
Been surrounded.
the strength and the influence and the brains around the table is just awesome.
Very cool. And so your council, you said, meets so basically every other month.
Yeah.
And they all come together and you guys talk about stuff. And so a lot of brainstorming, I'm sure.
Absolutely. You know, for example, the city came out with a budget challenge. They're in a deficit right now. So businesses deal with deficits and balanced budgets all the time. So we encouraged our members to fill that out and to give their input. So it's always changing what we're talking about, and then we give updates on our programs and our projects and things like that. So they're truly invested in the projects that we're doing, whether it's by their influence or their investment, or just being a chair or their commitment to the council.
Gotcha. When you talked about the fee, and I know you said the minimum was like 5,000, is that annually?
It is annually, and we are a 501c3, so it is tax deductible, so they could write it off. We do have a few philanthropic members, so the majority of our members work for a entity, and that entity pays their dues. But we do have some philanthropic members where they pay it through their charitable trust, or they just write it themselves and then write it off. We're looking to grow that. I know there's a lot of retired business leaders in the community that would really like to get back involved, and this could be one. I know sometimes you hear when you retire that you're kind of left out of the loop, and this is a great way to get back in. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be really cool.
So that's why we say it's business and community leaders, because there may not be a business associated with. But
retirees have just as much, if not a ton more knowledge.
And they've got the time. Because that's the other thing is they're all business leaders, so they're all very busy. So it's
so if you're retired, then you have a little bit more time, one would think.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
One of the other things we're going to try to work on is an asset map. And not your traditional asset map for a city like we're close to the river, we've got great schools, things like that. This will be almost like a resource asset. So it'll help alleviate silos, people starting things on their own, and it'll help align resources. There are over 1,500 nonprofits in the Peoria area. We all know.
Which is why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. We all know Peoria is a very philanthropic area, but how do we use those resources the best way, especially when the economy isn't awesome and we live in the state of Illinois? We hear that all the time. So we're going to figure out a way to try to align all these resources. So I'll use the example of hunger. So if someone wants to tackle the topic of hunger, it's a very important issue, it's a very needed issue, and it's right here in our community. So instead of someone starting something new or trying to develop their own 501c3 or what have you, or not doing anything at all, they can come to this resource, whether it's a website or a book, whatever we end up deciding it's going to look like. They can go down and go, okay, hunger. So you've got the neighborhood house, and at the neighborhood house, they do Meals on Wheels, they do snack pack programs, they do X, Y, and Z. Gifts in the moment, they do, food collection, they do community gardens. So it's kind of like plugging the community into what we already have, and it's your toolkit. It's your toolkit for the community to figure out where your resources need to go or where you can do things. I have shelters. Yeah. I have people all the time that say, I've got this business suit that doesn't fit anymore. Where can I take it? You could go to this asset map that we're creating and go, okay, Dream Center has the Hope Store, and Neighborhood House has a boutique, and X, Y, and Z, you can go down the list. So we're hoping it'll align people together, and that way they can find things a lot easier, and CEO Council will be the connector between those two and helping people.
That's very cool, because there are a lot, and there's a lot of duplication. I know that they're all maxed, right? They all, the shelters are all full, and, the pantries are all, needing more food, and it's not like, but there are a lot of duplicate.
There are, and so CEO Council, is not here to tell anybody that they're going to be merged with someone else or engulfed, but the CEO Council is made up of the leaders that decide what resources are getting spent where, a lot of the time, and they're stretched thin. They're investors in you name it, and so how do we streamline the process of where they're going to pick and choose, because sometimes you can't pick and choose and it's really hard.
There's too many.
There's way too many. And if you can't give your talent and you can't give your time, treasure's all that's left. So how do we spread that around? And it may do some cross connection with nonprofits as well. So if a nonprofit doesn't have a service or their clients are looking for the service, they can plug in. So United Way is one of our members at CEO Council, Michael Steffen, and we're going to do what we can to connect with them. Every couple of years they do the community assessment, which is great information. So there's a lot of information that can be put together, and how does that look? We don't know yet, but that's what the CEO Council is going to try to work on.
That would be very cool.
It's something that just comes up in every meeting, every project we talk about, and we struggle with that too. How do we pick a new project and don't duplicate something else? How do we work on paths that are going to collide versus parallel paths? And every couple of years when we do our round of projects, we hit that, oh, so-and-so is doing that, or this entity is doing that. So this will hopefully help and align some of our resources.
Absolutely. That would be interesting.
We just don't know what it'll look like yet. So.
And you're going to be moving soon. Where are you going?
So the platform,
I know, it's
the platform
crazy.
that we're sitting on down here is being demolished. We're very excited about that.
About the demolition?
Yeah.
To watch?
To watch. We were hoping we could swing a hammer, but
They're bringing down a big ball.
wrecking ball. Yeah. No, it floods down here every year, as you guys know, and it's just time, and everybody is pulled together to make it happen. So we're excited about it. The unfortunate part is all the entities that share this space kind of have to break up and move a little bit.
Breaking up. I'm sad.
We're leaving.
It'll be a good breakup, though.
It'll be good. It's not a breakup. It's like college is done and now we're all moving away from each other.
Okay.
So CEO Council, Chamber of Commerce, SCORE, which is the retired executives that help with business consulting, and then the Downtown Development Corporation and Alignment Peoria. All those entities, those 5 entities, are coming together, and we're moving to the old Judge Gale House on Jefferson.
Fun.
It's 403 Jefferson, Northeast Jefferson, and it's kind of cool because the chamber's been around for like 125 years, and going into this old nostalgic home is kind of cool. Yeah. So it'll be fun. We always talk about how, because we're in the process of moving now, so things are getting painted and things like that.
A lot of naked walls around here.
Yeah, art is coming down. So we talk about when someone's over there, they're going to the house.
No.
And so it was like when we were talking about whose office is going where, it was almost like kids picking their room. So it was very fun. And then on that same campus, they have something called the Carriage House, which is behind the Judge Gale House, and that's where the Economic Development Council is going.
Very cool.
They've got a bigger staff, so that's a bigger building for them to be in. So they're going to hang out there. And then, unfortunately, Widecast and Peoria Life has to leave us. But there's still going to be Chamber Chat. So if you love Chamber Chat, you're not going to miss out on that.
Nope. Yep. We're, so I think we've shared before, but just as a reminder, we are moving to 707 Main, which is by Manpower, across the way from 3030.
Right on the corner of Main and Perry.
Yeah. Yep. So that'll be different, but it's, the new and exciting and change.
Yeah. And it's nice to have someone down there. It's a newly renovated space. So to have someone as an anchor is really nice. Sometimes it's hard for the developers to get that anchor and to get people in. So hopefully you guys will be a flag in that area, and more entities will want to come share the space with you.
It'll definitely be different. I mean, our lovely little room that we have here now, Mike said he's going to leave us and he's going to be in another room and tell us we just have to start talking as soon as the timer starts.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
But it's going to be fun. But it'll be different because it was so beautiful here. I mean,
it is.
With the sun coming up and just now on the cold, I'm not going to mind not going up those stairs.
Yeah. Even though we're going to like an older home and stuff, you don't have the breeze from the lake in the winter that's coming underneath. But we are spoiled with parking down here. It's covered parking.
Oh, it's covered parking. But
get out the snow boots.
But those steps in the winter were not fun.
No.
And the snow and the ice and whatever.
Yeah.
But
and we're the only thing. We're the only thing up here now. So
This is a little lonely up
It's
here.
a little lonely. There's a little bit of loitering that happens, but
Yeah.
it's all good. We're very excited for it to be, a flood plain that can actually be used. The city's taken over the riverfront to make it more accessible to people.
Yeah, what is going to happen with this spot? I have people ask me all the time.
Yeah, I don't think they've decided. I know they put something out there to get opinions, but they really want to reclaim the concrete jungle that was the distilleries and everything. So this is the lowest point, a little bit of Peoria history, lowest point in the river because this is where the boats used to bring the stock. The
Okay.
stock yards with the cattle used to be down here.
Okay.
So Main Street, actually where Spirit of Peoria was, went all the way into the water. And so that's where the boats would come, the animals would come off, and then the trains right here. So it's the lowest point and it floods all the time.
Wow.
So they're going to turn it into a park and it'll beautify the river walk and it'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
What, do you know when they're doing the demo?
I don't know. We are out of here by November 28th.
Okay.
So we are hoping to get out in just a month.
Moving trucks are coming when?
That I don't know. We are packing up everything as we speak. So definitely using chamber members as much as possible, which
You're
is
going to
which
need
is
some
awesome.
volunteers.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Come
so,
help us move.
Yeah, we've got more due moving and federal warehouse have quotes in for moving. So
Awesome.
not without resources. That's the great thing about being partners with the chamber is you've
That's
got
right.
over 1,000 members that are instant resources at your fingertips. So makes it easy in times like this.
So just a real quick, anything else you want to share about the CEO Council or
Well,
any good stories that you got that you got
no.
a great costume for Halloween?
I know. Actually, my birthday is the 30th.
I was wondering, I was like, her
So,
birthday's
yeah.
coming up because I remember last
Yeah,
year you
I have
were
a
the Little
Halloween-
Mermaid.
I was a little mermaid and I got proposed to.
I remember. So
That's
it's
a
1
story.
year anniversary too.
Your anniversary. So no, not dressing up this year. We pass out candy, so I usually we're the cool house on the block. We've got full size candy bars and the fog machine and Halloween music and all that fun stuff.
But you're not
so.
going to dress up to go along with it all?
I've got a couple costumes at home, but we'll see.
Maybe just throw on a hat.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't rain or is too cold. I just feel so bad for those kids that
Yeah.
they get dressed up and then they got to wear a jacket. That's not fun.
No, it's not.
So,
It's
but I
part of
love
this weather,
Halloween.
though.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the time change.
We make sure we get good candy though, so if we don't get any kids, then we get to eat the good candy.
All right, tell us your website one last time and we'll wrap up our show.
Absolutely. It's PeoriaCEOCouncil.org.
Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
PeoriaLife.com